All right.
Okay. Hopefully
We had
that
a
fixed it.
technical difficulty there. Jana, do you think we should just jump back to the beginning and start over?
I think so. I think we could just jump to the, yeah, what is WordPress and just run over that real quick so that we can get everybody, a baseline.
Okay. Hey guys, so sorry about that. We had a technical difficulty on our end. I have so many buttons to push. I didn't push the right button. So if you were just hanging out in the waiting room, sorry about that. We're going to go ahead and just jump right into what is WordPress, because that's what you're here for today. We do have some people hanging out in the chat window. Two of our WordPress Live experts are in there, Will and Jem, and they're going to be answering your questions as we go through. So let's start out with what is WordPress. So WordPress itself, WordPress is a content management system, or we would call it a CMS. It is a software that allows you to create and edit website content without needing to know much code. WordPress originally started as a blogging platform, but now it's used for all types of websites. In fact, it's so popular that now more than 35% of websites worldwide are powered by WordPress. Another thing you'll want to know, WordPress is an open source content management system. That means anyone in the world can code and build features for WordPress, including themes and plugins. We'll talk about that in a little bit. On one hand, that's a good thing because there's tons of resources out there and a lot of flexibility. But on the other hand, you want to keep in mind that you do need to think about security a little bit. You want to validate every piece of every theme or every plugin before you install it on your WordPress website to make sure it comes from a reputable designer. So on the positive things about WordPress, because it's so popular, you can easily find website developers around the world that can help with your website. There are a ton of free educational resources out there, so you can learn how to build or manage it yourself or find somebody that you could easily hire to help you. WordPress, the software itself, it's free to use. All you need is a domain and web hosting. So let's say you had your own server in your home and you got a server sitting under the kitchen table, then you could download WordPress onto your own server, install it, and run a site. If you don't have that, then you do need web hosting. So WordPress, you can take it to any hosting company. It's not proprietary, which is another great plus. And one of my favorite features about WordPress is that you can have multiple user accounts. So you could have a user account for your web developer and a different login access for somebody who's writing articles on your blog. If you want to limit what each person can do, it's also a great way to keep record of who did what on your site. So while WordPress is robust and powerful, it does come with a bit of a learning curve. But don't worry, that's what we're going to do today. We are going to walk you through the details and the process of how to build a site so that you feel comfortable working in WordPress. If this is your first time seeing something like this or seeing the backside of WordPress, just maybe use today as a way to see if it looks like something that you can manage on your own. You might get to the end of today's webinar and think it's still too hard. That's okay. That's why we have a website builder you can try out as well. Okay, we are almost ready to jump into the WordPress dashboard. But before we just jump right into the deep end, I want to cover some terms and terminology that you're going to hear that I think will help you out framing the context. So first, you've probably heard there's WordPress.org and WordPress.com. What's the difference here? WordPress.org, think of this as like the home for WordPress. This is where you can learn everything about WordPress and the open source community. You can find different plugins and themes that have been built for WordPress. This is where you would download the software for free. WordPress.com is sort of the commercial site of the WordPress organization. You might be able to get a version of a free site, but you're going to be limited in what you can do as far as what your web address might be, and also you're going to be limited to the themes and plugins that are on there. So once you might start out there and then find that it's so limiting, you really need a full web hosting package somewhere else. So These are the same, it's the same organization and group, but one is free and one is paid. WordPress.com, you're going to pay a little bit for the hosting there. First term that we're going to talk about, dashboard. So the dashboard is the main control panel that when you log into your WordPress site, this is where you're going to land. This is the place where you can access all of your media library. You're going to create and edit your pages here. And you're also going to get admin alerts from WordPress of things you might need to update on your site. The next term we're going to go over is theme. WordPress design theme is essentially the package of files and style sheets that will make up the appearance or the design of a site. So on its own, WordPress is like a skeleton that helps you manage all the content and the information, but it isn't a design. You have to have a theme to put a design to the front end of your site. Keep in mind that every theme is going to have its own layout and features, and it will come with some limitations based on the structure of that theme. Next is plugins. Plugins are like a software package that you would download and install on your website to add functionality. So I want you to think of plugins like an app on your smartphone. Your smartphone is super powerful, but you're doing all the work within an app. So you have an app for your calendar, an app for social media, an app for your email. That's like a plugin on your WordPress website. Next is widgets. So widgets also offer some functionality to your site, but even more so, a widget is where you're going to find some of the layout options in your design theme. So I like to think about widgets. If you take a website and you try to break it into grids, vertical and horizontal grids, this is usually controlled by a widget. So for example, you might have a navigation bar across the top, you might have a right sidebar down the side of your page. Those are going to be managed and controlled in a widget. Next is a page and a post. This is where the words happen on your site. They both function very similar and you'll edit the content the same, but a page is more like your evergreen content on the site, and a post, think about post as a blog post. A post is going to be dated and they'll be loaded on your site with the most recent one first, going all the way back down in reverse chronological order. Okay, let me get my slide to go. So before we jump into the demo, let's talk a little bit more about themes. We get a lot of questions on the blog about themes versus builders. Page builders, you've probably heard, or you might have heard of something like Divi or Elementor. WordPress design themes, like I said, these are design styles that are created by a designer, and you are pretty much bound by the constraints of that design theme. And then it'll come with a couple different layout options, one for your home page and then one for a post or a page. Design themes are often created with one type of site in mind. So let's say you might find a restaurant website that lends itself to columns for a menu, but you wouldn't necessarily need that for an online store, right? You would have a different layout. There are free themes, and then there are premium themes or paid themes. Both of these you can find in the theme library within the WordPress dashboard. The free themes are great. You might choose to get a premium theme if you aren't finding exactly what you need as far as layout on a free theme. Or if you want something just a little bit more custom, a little bit more options, that's when you might look for a paid theme. So why would you choose a theme over a page builder? For me, I still like working in a theme because they are a little bit more native to WordPress. You don't need to add something else onto it in order to do your page layout. But some people like a page builder because it allows them to drag and drop a theme or drag and drop pieces to create a design, more so than a WordPress theme does. But I want you to keep in mind that you don't need a page builder in order to create a website. A lot of beginners have been hearing about these page builders and they think that it's required or that you have to use them, but that's not the case. I still like using a design theme because it is more native to WordPress. Another thing to keep in mind with some of your design themes, especially once you purchase a premium theme, a lot of times that will come with customer support and documentation to help you understand how to use that theme and how to set it up quickly. With your theme, you can customize the colors and the palette, but like I said, you are going to be a little bit limited on what's already there. So I just want you to think about this of like, let's say you know you want a right sidebar, but you're looking at a theme and that you like and it doesn't have a right sidebar. You're probably not going to be able to add a right sidebar where one doesn't exist. So you're going to still need to look for a theme that has the features that you want. I think of a page builder as more like a plugin that you layer on top of WordPress. You do pay to use that page builder. It's going to be similar to a premium theme expense, but a website builder might be more of an annual fee, where a WordPress theme is often a one-time purchase, one-time fee. Okay, I think we are ready for our demo. Jana, oh, there's also, here's a link on the website or on the screen for an article that will go through the difference in a theme versus a page builder a little bit more, if that's something that you're interested in reading more about. Okay, before we jump into our demo, Jana, are there any questions that we should cover before the demo?
I think you addressed a lot of them, but there was a question about, is WordPress a paid platform? So maybe reiterate.
Yeah, WordPress itself is free, but the hosting for your website, you will still have to pay for. And you will probably come across themes and plugins that you will have to pay for as well. But WordPress as the software on its own is free, but you're probably still going to have to pay for website hosting and for a domain name.
There's a couple of questions on themes as well, and I think this might be worth addressing. Is if I update a theme, will it change the design of my website that's already been built, or will it affect the files and pictures that I already have?
That's a good question. If you update your theme, it won't change your photos or files that you have in your media library, and it won't change the words and text and links that you have on a page, but you probably will have to do some configuration to set up that theme the way that you want it to. You'll probably have to go through the process again of homepage setup and theme customization, but you won't lose your images or your content that's on pages.
Okay, I'm capturing a lot of questions we can address towards the end of the demo. Otherwise, just want to reiterate that we are recording the sessions, so you'll get the recording, including the slides and the audio via email after the event.
Okay, great. Let me All right, let me switch over to our demo. Okay, you should be seeing my screen now. Jana, can you confirm that you can see my WordPress dashboard on your end?
Yes, I see the WordPress dashboard.
Okay, great. Let's go through this demo. I think it's going to swap out so you're not seeing my icons in just a moment. There we go. That looks better. Okay, what you're seeing right now is the WordPress dashboard. So once you log into your WordPress site, this is where you will land. I want to call out some things you're going to notice. Everything you're seeing up here, hopefully you can see my cursor floating around. Everything you're seeing up here, this is where you're going to see notifications from either your plugins or from the WordPress software if you have an update that you need to do. And like right here, you're seeing notifications from my Jetpack plugin. And you'll see some different announcements and things from WordPress down here. So when you log in, I suggest you log in once a month and make sure that everything's up to date and that there's not any plugin updates that you need to do. So let me show you what you're looking at. Down this left sidebar is where you're going to see most of the things that you're going to use to manage your site. So here on the left, one of the first things you're going to see is posts, and then 2 clicks below that is pages. So these are your articles. Remember we said pages are of your evergreen content and posts are your dated blog posts. So that's where you're going to find both of those. Media library is where you're going to put photos and PDFs, anything else that would be a downloadable on your site. And then you're going to see further down, appearance and plugins. These are 2 spots where you're going to probably spend a lot of time. So under appearance, themes and customize, this is where you're going to choose your theme, set up your theme, customize it, and then you'll also have widgets and menus right here. And then plugins, you can click here to see all of your plugins, add a new one, and make some edits there. And then those user accounts that we talked about, how you can have different logins for different people on your site, you'll find that here as well. So I want to go through and show you how these things work. If you're wondering why I skipped over some of these in the middle, some of these in the middle are more custom to the theme that I have selected on my site. So you're probably not going to see all of these on yours. So I'm not going to get into the specifics of those just because it is very custom to which theme I have chosen. But the main ones you're going to be using is your post, pages, media, and then down here a little bit further, appearance, plugins, users. Let's jump into media library first. Okay, here's my media library. Because this is just my demo site, I don't really have a lot of photos added in here, but you can see these 5 that I have added so far. I'm going to show you how to add a new image to your library. So you'll see up here at the top of the page this add new button, and you can also add new from the left sidebar as well. I'm going to click on add new at the top of the media library. And then this is really easy. You can just drag something from your desktop and drop it into this area, or you can hit select file and be able to browse for something. So I'm going to select the file, and then I'm going to browse for something that is on my home page or on my desktop. And I'm going to select this how-to video series. I'm going to click open. And then that little blue bar that was there really quickly will show as it's uploading the item. And then once it's uploaded into your library, you're just going to see it appear here. Now I'm going to click on it because there's some things I want to be able to edit. So Right here, you're always going to want to add what's called alt text. This is really important because it tells Google a little bit of information about what is being displayed in this image, but it's also great for people that might be visually impaired and are using a screen reader because they can't see the image. The alt text will read out loud to them what is being displayed in the image. So you always want to type something into this box. It's really, if nothing else, it's good for your SEO to have an alt text for each image. So I'm just gonna put something easy, HostGator how-to video series. And then the cool thing is this is automatically updating for me. You saw like really quick right here, there was a little like countdown clock, and then it said saved. Also, if I wanted to change the title of the image for whatever reason, like maybe I want to take out the dashes, I could do that here. You can add a caption if you want a caption to appear on the page. And then I'm just going to X out of it because I know it already saved those changes. Okay, so now let me go to pages and show you how you can insert a photo onto a page. Okay, on pages, you're seeing right here the title of each page that I have added to my site. About us, contact and services. I'm just going to choose one of these. I can click directly on it to open the page. And then it will open up in the editor first. So here's my page. It's already populated with some content, but I'm going to show you how you can do some edits to this page. So the WordPress editor, it's really cool in that it's creating different blocks of content. So each one of these paragraphs and the photo, they're all going to be in their own block. So I can edit each one of these individually without having to make changes to the other paragraphs. And once I click on them, you can see the editor that shows up here. But let's say I want to add a paragraph in the middle between these two paragraphs. I'm just going to hit this little button that'll pop up that says add block. And then I'm going to choose, I want to add a paragraph. So I'm going to select the paragraph, and you can see it just added in this new section here with a plus icon so I can edit. I'm just going to start typing in here. Really easy. And let's say I want to add that image right here that we just put into the media library. So I'm going to click add block and then select the block for image. Again, you could upload directly to this page if you hadn't already uploaded it to your media library. So it gives you the option to select upload, media library, or insert from URL. Since we already added that how-to video series image, I'm just going to click on media library to select the one that's already added to my media library. So it pulls this pop-up window, which looks a little familiar to you now because you've seen these images in the media library. And I'm just going to select the one that I want. Again, it pops up on the right sidebar with the information that's already populated for this photo. So that alt text that we added earlier, it's shown here. And if I wanted to add a caption or something, I could. So I can always make edits to that photo here. But I've got the photo selected with the little check mark. And now I'm going to click this button for select. Easy peasy, it just uploaded that photo directly into my post. Now you can also resize from here. So I could just click on it and hover over the edges and make it a little bit smaller if I wanted to. And then let's say I want to change the alignment. I want it to be centered. So I'm going to click change alignment, align center. There we go. So another thing I want to show you how to do is let's show you how you would add a link. Let's say I want to link this word content management system. I'm going to highlight the text that I want. as you can see on the left, it already popped up a little toolbar for me to edit the text here. And I'm going to click this little one icon that represents link. And then now there's a little window that's popped up, and I can copy and paste the link in here, or I can just select, type it in, hit this little arrow for submit. And now my text is hyperlinked. Pretty easy, right? There's a ton of different blocks in here that you can use that I think you'll have fun playing around with. One of my new favorite blocks is the columns. So I can add 2 columns to a page without having to need to know any code at all. It's really cool. So I'm going to save the changes I've made to this page. And this button up here that says update, I'm just going to hit that, and that's my save button. And you can see it's saving, and then it has a little pop-up, page updated, and then you can view the page. Now, if I want to go back to my dashboard, I'm just going to hit this this WordPress logo that's up here in the top left corner. And I'm back to my dashboard. Posts look exactly the same as pages. I'm not sure if I have any posts uploaded onto this site yet. But let's get over there, and then I can show you how to add one if I don't. Okay, so there's one in here. I'm going to show you quickly how to add a new post because it would be the same process as adding a new page. So again, similar to how we did in the media library, there's an add new button up here at the top. There's also an add new in the left sidebar. I'm just going to click add new, and now it's going to populate with a blank page that looks just like what we saw a minute ago on our pages. And it says add title. You'll just type right in here what the title is going to be. I'm just going to say this is blog post number 1, and then you can start editing here. So let's, now you'll see, because I haven't published this page, this post yet, you have the option to save as a draft and come back and work on it later, or the publish button is going to make it go live to my site right away. I'm just going to hit save as a draft, and I can come back and do it later. But you can see how that was pretty simple to make that change. There's some other things that you might want to change in here in the settings as you get further into your WordPress journey. Permalink, for instance, allows you to change what the web address would be. So this would be, my website is called hgblairtest.com, and then the slug is what comes after the .com/. So this the URL for this article would be /blog-post1. Maybe I want it to be something different. Maybe I want it to be first-blog-post. And then I can hit save, and now I will have a new web address for this article. All right, let's jump back to the dashboard. I'm going to show you a couple more things before we run out of time. Okay, let's get to themes. So down here in appearance, themes is where you're going to select and choose a theme. You can see here, these are all the themes that I have already downloaded onto my site. So I can quickly choose between these themes. I'm going to click out some of these deals. But if I wanted to select a new theme, like find a totally different one, I can just scroll down here where there's the option to add a new theme. And then it should give me the option to start searching through the WordPress theme library. This is really cool because you can sort by different categories. So let's say I want to see most popular themes on WordPress, or maybe I only want to see themes that are available for purchase. I can click here onto premium section. But let's say I'm going to go back to featured, because let's say I don't necessarily, oh, nope, that's not where I'm going to go. Okay, let's say I want to search for something. I'm going to search themes, and I'm going to type in the word food and see what happens. Okay, so it's pulling up theme options that are related to the keyword food. I could go through these different options and click like details and preview to see more about this site or this theme and what it looks like until I find one that I like and that I want to choose. So let me go back to the themes that I already have installed on here, and I want to show you how you're going to tell the difference in customization options. So right now, you'll see this theme right here in the top left spot says active and then catch starter. So what you're seeing, active means this is the theme that's currently active on my site, and the name of this theme is catch starter. But if I wanted to switch it to one of these other ones, then you'll see the option for a button that says activate or a button that says live preview. So let's say I want to switch to this 2017 theme. I'm going to click the button for activate. And then you should now see it appear here on the left. Now it says active is the 2017 theme. So I want to show you the customization options that are available here. We're going to hit the customize button. And on the left-hand side, you're seeing the different features and things that you can edit for this theme. So let's say I want to click site identity, and what you're seeing is I like to just say, see what it says here, and then match it up to where you see that text on the page. So the site title is being displayed here on top of the background image, and then the tagline is below. So I still want my site to say Blair's Awesome Website, but I want the tagline to say, thanks for stopping by. And it was just as easy as that. Then other options for you to change, there's colors. So this has like color schemes already, and then I could choose a custom color if I wanted to as well. I'm not gonna mess with that much today, but you'll see that it has an option for menu. Currently, it says my main menu is currently set to the top menu, and then I'll show you in a minute where you're going to find what the top menu is, but that's in the menu section under appearance. So I'm going to hit publish to save that tagline that we edited, and then now let me show you what it looks like with a more detailed theme. So I want to switch to this one that's called Catch Starter. One thing that's really helpful when you're looking at a WordPress theme to choose, when you read in this little information about the theme, see how at the bottom here it says, for more information, check out theme instructions, and it gives you this web address. So I'm going to copy and just let's go see what that looks like. Okay, so it's going to tell you some information about this theme, and it has instructions on where to find the different features. And then I also like with this one, I think when you go to view the demo, it's showing you what this site would look like once it's completely finished. But another thing it's doing is it's showing you, this section is called featured content, and when you start paying attention to the text that they've put into their demo site, it's super helpful because it says here you can showcase the different featured content from appearance, customize, theme options, featured content. So now we can go and look for that matching section on the theme options. So I'm going to activate Catch Starter. I'm swapping out the theme right now. And let me show you what the customize section looks like on this theme. Okay, right away you can see there's a lot more options here, right, than there was on the 2017 theme that I showed you. So this is where I say I want you to keep in mind that some themes have more detail and more options to it. On the 2017 theme, I wouldn't be able to add a section here that doesn't already exist. So if you want something specific like those featured sections that we saw in this demo, you're going to need to look for something like that in the theme demo. You're not going to be able to like custom code add to a theme very much. So let me show you like widgets. Now, where did it tell us that thing was? Appearance, customized, theme options, and featured content. So here we go. Theme options, featured content. So now this is showing me what I can do to add a page for featured content. Spot number 1, number 2, number 3. I really like when I'm using a premium theme, I really like to find a theme that has a good instructional demo site like this. So it makes it a lot easier for me to set up the pieces as I'm going through and starting my site. So those instructions would definitely help out here since there's so many different options available. So I want you to keep in mind that this really, the customization options all really depend on what is unique to your theme. Let me show you one more thing before we jump into a Q&A. I want to show you the menu section. So we're still over here in the dashboard under appearance and then menus. Okay, so right here on the right-hand side, you're going to see the menu options, and your the menu that I currently have set up has, these are the pages that are available on my menu. On the left-hand side right here are all the options that you can add to your menu. So let's say I want to add a custom link to my menu. It's giving me the option to type in the URL and then also what I want the link text to say. So I'm going to put in hostgator.com and I'm going to make the link say HostGator web hosting. And then I'm going to click this button for add to menu, and it's going to add a little button option for HostGator web hosting. Now, let's say I want to reorganize this menu and I want HostGator web hosting to come before the contact page. I'm just going to click it and drag and drop it right above the contact page and drop it there. The other thing you can see happen is if I pick up this item, you can see the little dotted line behind it, hopefully. If I want it to be a sub item of a page, all I have to do is just keep moving it over and to the right until that little dotted line snaps in place over to the right to make it a sub item. So let's say I'm happy with how this looks. Now I'm going to hit the save menu. So now my menu is saved and it'll appear on my website with these edits that I made. Okay, one more option quickly to show you is the widget section. Like we said, this is where you might find your sidebars or other bits of structure or functionality of your site. And again, keep in mind the widgets are going to be very specific to the theme that you have selected. So you can see on this theme, I have the option for a sidebar and also 3 footers. So what you're looking at right now, again, the stuff that's on the right-hand side over here, over here, is your widgets that are available with this theme. And then on the left-hand side are all the items that you can add to one of the widgets. This works very similar to the menu that I just showed you. But let's say I want to add a page and I want to add it to footer 1. So this is going to be a list of all my site pages and I'm going to add it to the footer and I'm going to call it check out my pages and then I'm going to hit save. So the other thing you'll see here, so this is the sidebar. And like I said, this operates the same as the menu. So let's say I don't want comments on my sidebar. I'm going to click this little arrow right here for it to pop out. And then I'm going to select delete. and it's going to ask me, are you sure that you want to delete that? Yep, it's already gone. So then I can just rearrange them the same way I did with my menu, just drag one up and drop it where I want it to go. And then this, again, that little timer bar was running around because it was saving for me automatically. Okay, I think this is a good spot for us to stop since we do have a little bit of time still available for Q&A. All right. Jana, what questions did we have in the chat that we need to cover?
Okay, there were so many great questions, and I think with extra help, we did a great job of answering a lot of them. Yeah, that's definitely worth iterating for the group. Some of them, one of them I thought was an interesting, and I think we might have got this last time, is the dashboard you're showing, the editor you're showing, is that what every WordPress is going to look like?
That's a good question. Yes, the dashboard will look the same on every WordPress site. Like I said, some of the options that are in your left sidebar, some of those might be different because you might have a plugin installed that shows up in the sidebar that might not be on my site. But for the most part, when you start your WordPress website and you log in, this is going to look familiar to you. All of these main options that I went over are going to be there on yours as well.
Okay, and one very popular topic was themes. And we'll start with the parent versus child theme. How do you know you need a child theme, and how does it work with your main theme?
Yeah, great question. This is a spot where Will and Jim might be able to help out as well, because it does get a little bit complicated. So a parent theme is the main version, and a child theme is a subset of that theme. A lot of times where I see it most common is on a store. So let's say you have an online store and you have your main theme for your main pages, and then there's a child theme for the shopping pages. That's a common spot where I've seen it. Will and Jem, how would you explain the difference in a child theme and a parent theme?
So really the only time we need to utilize a child theme is in development. So if you're a developer, what happens is a lot of people like to make changes to the actual coding of that theme, kind of create their own theme, build upon it. And so what happens is when that's done, if somebody updates their theme, it will knock all that coding out. So what we do is we utilize the child theme so that coding can be made in the child theme, so that when the main theme is updated, it doesn't remove your code. For layman or a regular WordPress user, it's not going to be necessary. There's really no other reason to use it. The options are going to be the same in that theme when you install it. So there's really no reason for it. If there are some of you who are a little bit more advanced in using CSS coding, no worries, that will not be knocked out. So it's not necessary for if you're doing CSS coding.
And real quick, so you mentioned that someone might have one theme on their main site and have another theme for like their shop pages. In a setup like that, what you would have is you would have your main site built on just your domain. So like if I have abc.com, I would use one theme on abc.com. And then I would create a subdomain called shop.abc.com. That subdomain would now be its own separate iteration. You can definitely add a menu link in the original site to lead over to your shop page, but at that point, those two totally separate houses. You can add a new theme to your shop installation. You can add new plugins to your shop installation. And again, you can link the two via your menu or links within the site. But as far as like changing a plugin on your home domain, it's not going to affect your shop page. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay, great. I've got another one on themes, and I think this should be a quick answer, is if you select a premium theme, is it a one-time fee or will it be a subscription where there's an ongoing charge?
That depends on the developer. Some developers will offer just one lump sum payment. Others will say, hey, you've got to pay me for this every year.
The themes are created by the community and the creator of the theme.
Correct.
That's
It's similar. It's
precisely.
similar to if you have a phone and you were to download or purchase an app from the Apple Store or from the Google Play Store. These are independent developers. Plugins vary a lot more on these payments. You'll find a lot more one-time payments. 90+ % of the time with themes, because it's necessary to keep those up to date. You will have an annual fee, and that will cover your updates and support and stuff like that.
Okay, excellent. There was a couple of questions about customizing fonts or even languages. Is that an option in WordPress?
Yeah, that one does depend on the theme or plugin that you're trying to use. A lot of them will, sometimes you'll get an integration saying, hey, like if you link us up with this additional like Google Fonts plugin, you'll get even more plugins. Or if you have your own custom theme that you want to upload, a lot of the time that includes FTP or other things that are a little more outside of what WP Live can do, but it is possible.
Yep, and then as far as language, there's several different options for that. If you're looking, some people will actually build separate sites or have separate actual pages for each language. That's an option with like a plugin such as like Polylang or something like that. A lot of people just want translation plugins like you'll see on Google. So there's plugins such as like Gtranslate and some other ones out there. A lot of free options actually, but there are some obviously paid ones that will give you more options.
Great. And there was a few questions as well about creating pages and whether your changes are going to be live. So I guess, briefly from the perspective of creating a new page without it being live, or on the converse, can I unpublish a page and take it away from being live without actually deleting it?
You want to take it,
That's
Jen?
much to unpack.
Sure. Yeah, you can absolutely take a page down if you publish it and say, oh no, I like had 6 typos in this one paragraph. You can absolutely set it back to a draft. You would just go into edit page, and up in the upper right-hand corner, it'll say published. If you click on that, you'll have the option to take it back down. And then as far as making your entire site go to sleep mode or like throw a blanket over it, most hosting providers will actually include a built-in coming soon page that will be live as soon as WordPress is installed. That's found under the general settings tab. If you want something a little more flashy, there are plugins like SeedProd where you have a little more customization.
And if there are pages that you're working on, you can save those as drafts. It does also offer options there where you can set publish date. So if you're working on something you've completed, you don't want to have to publish that on a certain date. So there is options there where you can say, hey, I want to publish this blog, on Wednesday, right? So you can really set those up.
Okay. This also, I know it was answered, but this is a question I've seen in previous webinars, is how important is it to keep your PHP up to date?
I actually saw you talking a lot about PHP, Will, so I'll let you go ahead and take this one.
It's very important. Very important to keep your PHP up to date. It's basically what your WordPress site runs off of. So a lot of people are familiar with HTML and these types of things. PHP is kind of like an engine. So if it's not up to date, it can't work appropriately with your plugins. So with that in mind, also, if you are going to update your PHP, you need to also make sure that you're updating your theme and your plugin so those all can work together congruently.
Okay, and here's one that I thought was really interesting. Blair, I'm not sure how possible it is with the slides to swap back, but people are interested to see your website after you made the changes. Kind of a before and after. Maybe that's a note for the next, for a future webinar. I don't know technically if you can swap over.
Yeah, so this is a great question. And I'll be honest with you, that site that I showed you today is a demo site. So I haven't done everything on it yet to set up all the different widgets and theme options. So it's not going to look great yet, but we actually do have a solution for you. A lot of people have asked that same question. They're like, this is great. Now I want to see you build something from beginning to end. So I want you to look at the link that's on the screen now for the one that's called Beginner Videos. We've put together an entire YouTube series for you on how to build a WordPress website where our guy who does a lot of our YouTube demos, Josh, is going to walk through the entire process. He's going to do the same thing that I just did, but bit by bit show you how to make a site go from a shell to a published site at the end. And so you'll get to see a lot of those changes of once I make this change, here's what happens on the live version. So I recommend you jot down that link and go through those videos there. We'll send them to you in an email after this webinar as well.
Great. Yeah, there were several people asking for the links. I put them in the chat. They're available on our Twitter channel, and I guess they'll be included in the email. So
And keep in
so many
mind,
more questions. I apologize. I know we didn't get to many of them, so I don't know if we want to stick around or just to wrap it up with a follow-up blog with some popular questions.
Yeah, Will, were you going to throw something else in there?
yeah, I just wanted to make sure everybody understands too, because WordPress is so expansive, it can do so many things. You know, watching somebody build a site is a great thing. There's a lot of videos out there. You want to be very specific because the way that site gets built out and how things are done is really going to be dependent on your theme and your builder. A lot of the navigation will be similar in the theme specifically, but in those builders, they can be very, very different.
Yeah, that's a great point, Will. And so something I wanted to share with everyone who's on, because of our technical glitch at the beginning, you might not have heard all of this explanation, but we do have a service that you can subscribe to as an add-on package. It's called WP Live. And Will and Jem are actually two of the experts on that WP Live team. So you can subscribe to WP Live and you'll have somebody assigned to you like Will or Jem who will help you one-on-one learn how to use WordPress and also how to set up the different features on the theme that you've chosen. It's a subscription package that you can do, you know, month to month. So you can pay for 1 month and then cancel it if you've learned everything you need to learn. We're going to send you a link in the email. If you're interested in adding that service to really have some one-on-one help from an expert on how to set up your site specifically, that's a really great feature you're going to want to check out, and it's super affordable as well. Also on the screen, we have a special offer for you for 70% off your shared hosting. This offer is good until February 14th. So jot down that link if you have not purchased web hosting yet and you're ready to start your WordPress website. That's a great deal for you to take advantage of. So if we don't have any more questions, I think we can wrap it up there.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think in the interest of respecting everybody's time. If you
Okay.
guys want to reach out on Twitter with the hashtag HGWebinar with pressing questions, we'll be able to answer those throughout the day. So feel free to reach out.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, great.
Have a great
Thanks,
day.
everybody.
Thanks,
for
guys.
joining.
Thanks.
All right.
Whew.